Wish very happy new year in 2013. 2013 has started and we all need to plan our business goals really well in this new year. All of us have aspirations, all of us have dreams, all of us have goals to achieve, and it's best done if we actually are able to write down our goals. If we are able to analyze our goals or our targets that we had in 2012 and whether we have been able to achieve them, then the best idea is to actually analyze those goals and then take it forward by actually mentioning the goals that we want to achieve in 2013. So what we have done for you is created a small little workbook which will act as your business plan worksheet, and that worksheet can actually be filled up by you and also ensure that you create a tracking mechanism to check and verify whether you achieve your goals in the new year or not. Now once we talk about all this, you have this as a small attachment besides this video, and you can download this attachment parallelly to actually ensure that you understand on each sheet as to what we are talking about. The first page obviously is going to be the cover page, but as you move to the second page, it talks about the 2012 transaction analysis and 2013 goal setting, and we talk about primary sales in this particular sheet. When we talk about primary sales, we are talking of direct builder sales that you are probably doing in the market, and these builder sales could be in terms of various types of segments of the market that you are targeting. Say for example, if I divide the market into say residential, which could include 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK and above, or maybe bungalows. I could also be talking about commercial, maybe in terms of shop, office space in terms of IT office space or non-IT office space. I could also be talking about maybe showrooms and obviously land transactions. So if I have divided the market into 10 different segments and then mapped it to what I would call primary market sales, then what I have is that what is the amount of brokerage I made in primary transactions or primary market sales in 2012. You can fill up the various numbers, whether you received any brokerage from the buyers or you received brokerage only from the builders, which is the sellers. And similarly, if it was a fresh property wherein you were involved in a transaction with rental, then probably you can also talk about that also over here. You're also very clearly also targeting investors in a big way, and you can also see whether you are actually making any kind of brokerage from investors who would have invested in builder properties. Hence primary market becomes a really big segment of the market that you approach, and hence tracking what you did in 2012 is really important. Also, what you will be able to realize is that as you fill the numbers over here, that what is the amount of transactions that you did would come in the first columns, and there is then a column which talks about the amount of money that you made in rupee terms, which is in the last column. So you can actually find out whether you actually made more money selling 1 BHKs and 2 BHKs, or you made more money doing say commercial office transactions. And all of this is directly relevant in an overall way when you are trying to ensure that you understand what segment of the market are you really comfortable with. Broker associates or broker agents on ground have an inherent tendency to actually tap customers of the same profile, and it is about identifying what profile are they most comfortable with by analyzing the previous year transactions. You can set your goals for 2013 by ensuring that in 2013 what transactions will you be doing, and by setting down goals for 2013 transactions. As you move on to the next page talks about the secondary market sales. In the secondary market, obviously the segment of the real estate market remains the same: 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK and above, bungalows, maybe office spaces, etc., etc. So the market segments remain the same, but in secondary market transactions, what are the types of transactions that you did? What is the type of money that you made? Did you make more money with buyers or with sellers? With lessors or with lessees? With landlords or tenants? That's what we are trying to say. And using the same data types that you did in the first sheet in primary sales, you can actually fill up the second sheet, which is also the secondary sales. Over here you can actually write down the number of transactions that you did individually within your office, or all your team members can individually fill up their own sheets to find out what is the number of transactions that they did and in what market segments that they did. Fill up the numbers similarly for the amount of commission that you generated in 2012 for those particular segments, and then move on and take forward the sheet into 2013. That's how you'll get a complete idea as to what was your total revenue in 2012 for primary markets and secondary market sales. Both these kind of give you a rough analysis or a rough estimation of what particular type of market are you actually focusing on, and whether you are actually able to grow your business in that particular segment or not by writing down your goals for 2013. Moving on to the next sheet, which is page number 4. That particular sheet talks about dividing the total market in comparison in terms of price differentiation. So when we talk of in terms of price differentiation, it obviously varies from market to market. Say for a city like Ahmedabad, you can talk of say sub 20 lakh rupees apartments, 20 to 40 lakhs, 40 to 60 lakhs, 60 lakhs to 1 crore and 1 crore and above, if you are talking of residential transactions. And similarly, you can talk about say rentals maybe less than 10,000, 10 to 20,000 category, and 20,000 and 50,000 kind of rentals. And then you are actually dividing the entire market into price segments, and then defining which price segment are you able to focus on, what type of clients are you really able to work on, and based on those type of clients you would ideally want to target those clients in 2013. And that's what the third sheet or page number 4 talks about, which is defining the market by what you would call as by price segmentation. Moving on to page number 5, the page number 5 talks about dividing the market in terms of geography. Obviously this entire sheet has its blanks because we are not sure which particular geography you are focused on. So say for example, in Ahmedabad city you are focused on west of Ahmedabad, and you have areas like Prahlad Nagar, Anand Nagar, Navrangpura, CG Road, Thaltej, Judges Bungalow, etc. Or a particular person in South Bombay who is focused on South Bombay transactions, and he is focusing on transactions in Kolaba, Marine Lines, Malabar Hill area, Tardeo, Worli, Baikhala, Bombay Central area, and all these transactions in these particular areas. So dividing the entire market into the geographies that you are focused on, and based on the geography then you are trying to find out that where in this particular geography are you most successful, or where have you had the most possible chances of actually seeing results. So as you go towards dividing this particular entire market into geographies, and then analyzing that what you did in 2012, you start realizing that okay, my major source of income came from a particular geography, or my major source of income came from a particular type of market, maybe it is 2 BHK, or my major source of income came from secondary sales in the office space. So it's about identifying your strengths in 2012 so that you can plan yourself better in 2013. So write down all the geographies that you have serviced in 2012 in this particular sheet, and based on that particular sheet then you can actually go forward and ensure that you actually start planning for 2013. Moving on to the next sheet, which is sheet number 5, and which is particularly page number 6. We are talking about transaction analysis by what you would call as revenue source. When you say revenue source, or which source of lead generation which led you to actually do the transaction, and that's what we are talking about in this particular sheet. Here obviously we have given you different types of lead source options, be it in terms of past clients, be it in terms of sphere of influence, your direct friends, relatives, contacts, or maybe we are talking of expired listings, or we are talking of direct owners that you would have approached and targeted, or maybe you are talking about doing just listed, just sold postcards in your neighborhood localities, or maybe we are talking about referrals from sphere of influence that you might have generated through your staying in touch with them, and all those particular things. So we have listed down maybe 20-30 lead generation sources, obviously print advertisements and referrals from agents or market sources, All of them form an important part of your lead generation sources. The idea is that if you actually try to analyze this particular lead generation types, you'll find that probably 80 to 90% of your conversion maybe is happening in one or two lead generation sources, which if we are able to expand to maybe 5 or 6 lead generation sources, then probably your business will become far more sustainable and scalable than what it is today right now. I was sitting with one of our offices in Ahmedabad, and you'll be surprised that almost 90% of his business came from only a sphere of influence. And the particular reason was that he focused on building relations to that extent that he was actually able to influence their buying decisions into helping them actually buy the right property. Obviously, he was doing a wonderful job, but helping him understand that particular thing was this particular sheet wherein he said, oh, I need to generate leads in many more ways. Otherwise, this source of lead generation is not scalable and is not sustainable for me to grow my business. And that's what changed his perspective about doing business. So if you go from page number 2 to page number 6, you'll realize that this entire sheet talks about transaction analysis and transaction goal setting for 2013. And by this end of this particular 5 sheets, you'll realize that you can have particular types of goals that you can actually set. You can have a goal that, okay, I want to make X amount of income in primary transactions of this particular geography at this particular price segment by generating leads in this particular manner. So we are talking of combining all the 5 sheets and then talking of writing down few noted goals, which could be talking about price segments, which could be talking about geography, which could be talking about market, and obviously the types of lead generation sources that you want to plan for yourself. As you will realize that lead generation is not happening through all the sources mentioned in this particular sheet. The idea is that you have to tick down a few lead generation sources that you would want to do yourself personally, and using these lead generation sources, then take it forward into ensuring that you actually plan it and do it on a month-on-month basis by keeping it noted down in your weekly action checklist that you are planning for yourself. As we move to the next page, which is page number 7, it's about managing your database. Now, I have given about 8 or 9 types of who is in my database category. When we have talked about friends, relatives, we have talked about past clients, we have talked about prospective buyers, prospective sellers, agents in my area, vendors, we are talking of a geographic farm, we are talking of a niche farm, and all these people ultimately are part of my database. Now when we talk about the entire database, when we say friends, relatives, geographic farm, niche farm, all these people, how do we want to stay in touch with them? How many approaches do we want to make with them? Now when we talk about approaches, it could be in different ways. When we are talking of approaches, we are talking about something like sending them a direct mail, that is sending them something by post, or we are talking of sending them emails, or we are talking of sending them maybe staying in touch over phone calls or maybe an SMS, or we are staying in touch with them by giving them something of value, maybe in terms of education, maybe in terms of giving them something, some gift or something, or you are probably staying in touch with them only on social media. Now you have to plan your activities as to how you are planning to stay in touch with them. And this entire database, you don't need to call up 1,000 people in your database every single day, but you need to plan out a strategy as to how you will stay in touch with them effectively over a period of time, ensuring that you are able to actually increase your connectivity and relationship building process with them over a period of time. As our director always says, expertise relation. You have to project yourself as an expert in your market and obviously build relations with your database to ensure that the transaction keeps coming towards you. And both this aspect has to be managed very effectively by creating and maintaining a proper database and obviously updating the database at regular intervals to ensure that you are able to actually take it forward. Similarly, as we move to the next page, you will find that we have given you a small list of gift ideas, or what you would call pop-by ideas, wherein you can actually use them on a month-on-month basis to effectively plan a strategy of how to stay in touch with your clients or how to stay in touch with your entire database. Now, this particular thing, Brian Buffini has been a big promoter of ensuring or of saying that why you should use personal notes, why you should use pop-bys, and why you should actually be in touch with your particular set of people in your database. And here's a small list of ideas that you can use in the Indian market conditions. We're talking of small little ideas. Maybe you are creating maybe things like, you know, kites during the kite festival, or maybe colors during Holi, or your sweets during Diwali, or chocolates during Christmas and New Year. Small little ideas that you can actually use in your own market to effectively stay in touch with more and more people. Similarly, we have also given you some pop-by ideas wherein you can just drop into someone's home and just give him a gift coupon, maybe for a movie, maybe for a dinner, and build relations with that person because you just know that person from earlier, but you didn't have a chance to talk to him about real estate transactions. The entire purpose of this particular sheet, or what you would see as page number 8, is to actually be in touch with your entire database in a much more effective and planned manner. Now, say for example, you are in touch with many developers of the town. Then by staying in touch with developers, you can probably give them a different kind of a corporate gift. But if it's maybe friends and relatives, maybe it could be a much more personal gift which can be used in their homes. So you have to plan your strategy for your database as to how you want to stay in touch with your entire database, and accordingly use that as a planned activity through the entire year. Now, this particular thing is to be done by you yourself as a person, and you have to show your warmth or your nature to connect with more and more people. It comes naturally to some people. Some people will have to cultivate this habit of being an out and out social person to connect with more and more people. And that's what you have to learn and effectively understand yourself to take it forward. As we move on to the next page, which is page number 9, we talk about your recruitment plan if you are a broker owner, and if you're not, then maybe you can just skip this particular page. When we are talking of a recruitment plan, you can actually look at your numbers in 2012 and try to find out how many new agents you recruited in 2012. And then move on to the number as to how many agents you have been able to retain in 2012, and what strategies or what went wrong maybe if you have not been able to retain your agents in 2012. So as you move, try to analyze the source of agents, where they are coming from. We've listed down maybe 15 or 20 different sources which you can actually use, and these 15-20 different sources could mean that we are talking about something like real estate agents, government employees, retired professionals, sales and marketing people within different corporate companies, or we are talking of sales and marketing professionals of pharma, insurance, stockbroking industries, various people from various industries who are probable real estate agents and who can join your particular office. Your efforts to target them. So say for example, you target each particular set for one particular month. So say for the month of January, you are going to target insurance agents, and you go to the IRDA website, that is Insurance and Regulatory Development Authority website, and you find out the database of maybe insurance agents or mutual fund agents from the AMFI website, that is Association of Mutual Funds of India, and then you target them for one particular month each, wherein you are probably sending them emailers, or you are sending them maybe postcards, or you are sending them greetings for understanding or talking to you to find out about this particular opportunity about doing real estate broking transactions in an organized professional manner with Remax. And that's how you slowly start building your database of people who are probably likely to become real estate agents, and then start building a process wherein you are meeting them maybe once 1 hour every week, or then creating a process for a presentation every Saturday in your office, something like that, to ensure that okay, anyone who inquires to become a real estate agent, he is first called for a seminar on Saturday from maybe evening time 4 to 6, and then for a post meeting he is called from Monday to Friday anytime between 10 to 12, because that's what your recruitment time is all about. And as a broker owner, as you start practicing this on a regular basis, maybe month on month, or a fortnight on fortnight basis, slowly you will realize that there's a lot of effect in terms of increasing the number of agents in your own market. Now this will lead you to ensure that over maybe a quarter you will be adding maybe 2 or 3 agents. Over maybe 6 months you would have added more, because these agents or their success will rub into other people, and slowly they'll attract more successful agents into your office, and your office keeps on growing slowly and effectively because of all of this. So fill in your recruitment plan, find out the lead sources, find out your market, and you can actually start doing all of that. As we move to page number 10, we are talking about your personal goals for 2013, or your personal expenses that you would have already incurred for 2012. Wherein we are talking about things like your personal expenses in terms of your maybe your personal expenses in terms of your car, your home, your children's education, your planning for insurance or retirement goals, or anything that you might be doing in the future. So all of these goals or business expenses for 2012 are being noted down in this particular sheet, and we are obviously planning that what are going to be your future expenses for 2013. Obviously maybe inflation is going to affect it at 10%, let's put that particular number, but at the same time we also have to calculate and account for maybe one-time expenses that we are going to plan for. Say maybe if your kid is going to get married, maybe you are going to have a huge one-time expense in this year, or maybe if you are planning to enroll your kid into a school, and slowly his or her tuition fees and school expenses and everything will also start increasing. And that's how you actually start planning for your personal life also. So write down all the personal expenses that you might be doing, and you can actually note down all the personal expenses that will come for 2013, and then actually you create a plan as to what could be your income goal that you need to have to just break even in the first particular part of the year itself. Similarly, we are talking of your business plan expenses. When you are talking about your business plan expenses, we are talking of all the types of various marketing things that you are planning to do in this particular thing in 2012 and 2013 analysis. And similarly, you are also planning other expenses that you might have in terms of office space, rent, or maybe anything like in terms of Remax dues that you are paying to Remax, and all these particular things. So if you combine your plan in terms of maybe your personal expenses and your business expenses and put both these numbers, then you will get an idea of as to what is your total expense number, as to what is your projected expense for the year of 2013. From this projected expense, we move to page number 12, wherein we talk about what then becomes your income goal. And when we talk about your income goal for 2013, obviously you are talking about how you are actually going to achieve all your targets, and also ensure that you are going to save an amount of money for maybe future savings and stuff like that. So here is a time to actually sit down very carefully and write down all your numbers very carefully, and then sum up all the numbers till the point that you are able to come to a point that okay, this is my income goal for 2013. As we talk about the income goal, then we talk about maybe, once we have a number that okay, I want to make an X amount of money in this particular year, we talk about how we can actually achieve that target. And there's a simple thing that okay, how do I achieve, what's the number of transactions that I need to do, what's the number of amount of money that I make on a per transaction basis, and then dividing those two by each other, and you get a number of transactions that you need to achieve. From a number that you need to achieve, how you can actually cut it down into a quarter on quarter target, and bringing it down to a week on week target. Maybe when you say that okay, for every month I need to maybe do one transaction to achieve my goal of X amount of transactions, which will lead me to doing maybe Y amount of money, and that's what you want to actually get a number or get an idea about. Obviously we have filled in sheet 1 to 5 whatever transaction goals in terms of 2013 in different price. Obviously we talked about primary sales, we talked about secondary sales, we talked about price, we talked about geography, and we talked about lead sources. So it's about combining all of that into something which is very effective, wherein we are talking about okay, how are we going to achieve these numbers in a far more effective manner. The next sheet, which is page number 13, is also your progress chart, wherein we are talking of from January to December, how are you actually going to achieve your numbers. When we are talking of achieving our numbers, we want to achieve our numbers in terms of how are we going to achieve, how are we going to meet people, how many people do we need to meet to close one transaction, and how many number of leads do we need to generate for buyers, for how many listings we need to generate for sellers, and the number of activities we need to do to achieve all of this. And then on a month-on-month basis, we want to track ourselves as to how effective we have been in doing all of this. Now when we look at this particular progress chart, what we see is obviously the number of days that you are going to work, the hours that you are prospecting, number of contacts that you are adding, and be it in terms of your past clients or your follow-ups or various aspects and stuff like that, to the point that you actually get down into zeroing down into your buyer leads, your seller leads, your listings and stuff like that, to ensure that you understand where you actually fall within your entire sphere of lead generation and lead servicing or lead management, to ultimately ensure that you are able to close more transactions. The last sheet obviously is your daily action checklist or your weekly action checklist, wherein you are actually trying to sum up all the activities that you would have felt that you want to do every single week. Maybe when we talked about how you want to stay in touch with your database, and you say that okay, I want to put one social media post a week, and then you probably say that assign a particular task to that thing, and maybe assign a particular day that okay, this particular day I'll put my social media posts. Similarly, we talked about recruiting, and we can say that okay, every Saturday 4 to 6 I'll be recruiting or giving a recruitment presentation. Every Monday to Friday I'll probably spend 1 hour with a broker associate prospect in terms of helping him recruit. For broker associates, you can probably say that okay, every morning 9 to 10 I'll open the newspaper and check all the inquiries that are coming in the newspaper. Maybe you are talking about similarly just listed postcards. Maybe you are talking of open houses. You are talking of maybe expired listings. All the activities that you want to do, all the source of leads that you want to generate, all the activities that you need to do to generate these leads are what you are tracking using this particular daily action checklist. When you write down all the tasks that you need to do and then map that particular task into a time within the week when you want to do that task. The problem is most real estate agents actually live life as it comes, as in what they are trying to do is if and when they actually are facing any type of problem, that's the time they actually get into a problem solving mode. So they are living on a firefighting solution mode, and from being a reactive person we want to move towards being a proactive person. And if you want to move towards proactivity, we have to ensure that we start doing our activities in a planned manner to get results in a planned manner. And that's this daily action checklist all about. Go through your entire business plan for 2013, fill up the numbers, fill up the sheet. Wherever you have any kind of problems, always get back in touch with us and we'll be more than happy to help you understand these numbers better and then effectively take it forward. Thank you very much for your time, and it was a pleasure. Thanks.